Howdy folks, Eric here, back with another standard brew. Today, revisiting this Gruul Treasures idea. I did a video a few months ago labeled Gruul Biotech Specialist. This is a little more all in on the treasures idea, just generate treasures because it's the strongest way to pay off your biotech specialists and your Cranko Baron of Tin Streets. So in order to do that, we're on 4 Generous Plunderer, a Scuzzback Scrounger, trying that out from Lorwyn Eclipsed as a one of. We're also on a couple Rocketeer Boost Buggy and 3 Brass's Bounty. So Brass's Bounty, I know, big 7 mana kind of clunker sorcery, but if you have Biotech Specialist or Cranko on the field when you cast this, and you don't even need to cast it for a full 7, right? Sometimes just having like 5 lands and 2 treasures, generate 5 treasures, that's going to be enough to kill your opponent most of the time. So those 2 cards, or Chandra Spark Hunter if you've gotten her emblem online, make 5 treasures, right? Dome you for 15. That's probably going to kill your opponent. The rest of it is sort of a classic mid-range feel. Llanowar Elves. We get a couple Vibrance, which is actually pretty huge for this archetype. Not only is it like generically good as a mid-range piece, but because we're on quite a few vehicles, being able to like evoke in the Vibrance and crew our Lumbering World Wagons as an option for tempo is pretty strong. Otherwise, it's something that we can pretty easily ramp into off of like turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Lumbering World Wagon, turn 3 Vibrance, just hard cast it. Very flexible piece, finds some spicy one of lands and then some removal as well. A couple torches and a playset of Seers, which is also a pretty huge addition for this archetype. Just instant speed, 4 damage from Lorwyn Eclipsed. We're on 24 lands today, including, as I mentioned, a few one of spicy targets for Vibrance to grab. Bossing Say, Restless Ridgeline, and 1 Zonarkand, Ancient Metropolis. I haven't messed with this card too much, but it seems pretty good being able to like search it into your hand for Vibrance and then cast just as a generically pretty decent utility piece. And a few Fountain Ports. It makes treasures, sacrifices treasures, kind of all around pretty good for us here. A few Magebane Lizards for Is It Lessons. I think Is It Lessons is going to be kind of a tough matchup for us. Scouring Storm Soul, Surak for control. Legion Extruder, generically good grind piece, but also pretty good at answering decks that have small creatures. Kind of an all-around, could be a main deck include. Couple Soul Guide Lanterns. I think Pick Your Poison is pretty decent in the meta right now. Boros Dragons, really good into Is It Lessons as well. Comes up quite often. And then a couple Pyroclasms just to manage go-wide strategies that you might come across. So I think we're going to have actually pretty good matchups into a lot of the meta decks right now. In particular, I think we'll probably have a pretty decent mono-green Landfall matchup. Not only do we have decent removal in the main for that matchup, we also have the ability to go big, especially if we're uninteracted with, like ramp pretty hard with our Biotech Specialists and Lumbering World Wagons, and eventually just kill our opponent with Brass's Bounty, and then producing a big board of 3/4 Tree Folk is not going to matter that much because we have a lot of like extra burn reach. So that's one piece of it. I also think, generally speaking, I think we're going to fare pretty well into something like any of the elemental decks as well, because we're on a lot of vehicles and Thunderflock doesn't bounce vehicles. Now they have like Wistfulnesses often, so that's usually a pretty good answer, but Thunderflock is sort of their like get out of jail free card that won't be too effective against us with our Vibrances, with our vehicles, with our Planeswalkers as threats. Let's hop into some ranked matches here. I'll play somewhere between 3 and 5, depending on how we're rolling. But let's hop right in. Starting off on the draw, this hand's okay. Lands and spells and pretty decent early action, but not a perfect hand. Wouldn't mind a Llanowar Elves off the top, or maybe like a Chandra to be able to enable this Lumbering World Wagon. We'll see how she goes. Opponent leads on Botanical Sanctum, Llanowar Elves. Stomping Ground. We draw a Cranko Baron of Tin Street off the top here. One of the better cards in the deck, surprisingly, just generically 3/3 haste. You know, that's generically pretty good in a lot of matchups. And then outside of that, combos with our treasures. You just sacrifice a treasure, you generate the red, and also are able to make a goblin off of that. And if you have Brass's Bounty, right, and you have like 7 treasures, right, you have Cranko, you Brass's Bounty, you make 6 goblins, and then with the last treasure, or maybe you have like a lander token or something, you tap Krenko, and suddenly you have a board of hasty 2/2s, you know? Looks like we're up against the toolbox list. Probably just Simic based on the lands we're seeing, but could be Bant. Let's make a treasure. It's kind of the thing we do here. I don't think the Lumbering World Wagon is going to be that good in this matchup. However, on turn 3, getting a little bit of a ramp, not the worst idea. Sets up a future Brassus bounty a little better. I'm imagining the way we win this is not beating them down with wagons, but it's eventually just drawing into... They counter the trigger on Lumbering World Wagon. That's fine. I mean, we have lands. They may come to regret that. Let's see if they have follow-up for all this ramp. Because they have a lot of ramp. Wouldn't mind drawing a Chandra still. It'd probably die pretty quickly, but it would at least, like, let us swing with the wagon for a turn and then filter away some of this this stuff. Crater. Okay, just Craterhoof Behemoth raw. Yeah. I am dead to that. Okay. Fair enough. Bring in the Pyroclasms. Probably just want the Legion Extruders as well. Just a generic little 2-mana shock effect here. I think we keep all the Brassus bounties. Chandra's going to be a little poor in this matchup just because she's pretty likely to die to combat damage, but we'll keep a couple in. Kind of same with Rocketeer Boost Buggy. Rocketeer Boost Buggy really shines when your opponent doesn't have like cheap creatures flooding up the board. So we'll cut those as well. I think just try it like this. We get to be on the play. Pretty important for us here. We'll keep it. It's not a great hand, but I don't think this is worth mulliganing either. Pretty nice setup to draw into a Brassus bounty, actually. We're going to be putting a lot of lands on the field. Another land. Go for the tech. Pass it to you. Probably go wagon next turn into Krenko, sacrifice a lander. Krenko, crew up the wagon, sacrifice a lander. We'll see what kind of fast start they have. Generous Plunderer. Yeah, let's go for the wagon here. Try to get out of the gates. We're not interacting with our opponent, which is a little rough. That means they pretty much have free reign to kind of do whatever they want here, but tapped Breeding Pool is kind of a good sign for us. Kind of an awesome sign for us. Vibrance. Pretty good draw. Really good draw, I think. Makes sense to me to just hardcast this. Get the full value out of it. Kill off their Leyline Weaver here. Let's grab a Fountain Port as a way to start sacrificing our extra tokens. And swing in with the tech in the wagon here. I guess I could have held back the specialist. It doesn't really matter. They'll block. We'll move on with our lives. Hit them down to 14. Pretty huge. We're very ahead on mana right now. Unable to scream on the Vibrance. Okay. Unable to scream on the Biotech Specialist. Who cares, dude? Kind of a weird cards to bring in here. Let's go ahead, play an Elf. Play a Krenko. Crew up the wagon here. Continue the onslaught. Very, very ahead on lands. I suppose I play a second wagon here just in case I end up drawing. I could just go for a... Since their artifact died, I could just go for a goblin, but I think I'm just going to play another wagon. Because if I draw a way to crew this, they're just dead next turn. Badgermole Cub. I actually just might be able to crew this off of like... Okay, well this should be enough. I can go Generous Plunderer, Biotech Specialist, sacrifice a lander, make a goblin, ping them for 2, grab another land, and now I can crew up both of the wagons, right? Yeah. And it's going to be pretty good. It's going to force a block at the very least. And I still have a lot of material to block with. Actually, it might force a double block. Let's see if I have 2 basics left. Just 1. Okay. I'm going to pretend I have another one. No, they're not falling for it. Oh, they do end up blocking here. I guess they're just dead to a lander sacrifice anyway, right? Okay, well, they probably can't win this game, right? 1 card in hand. Huge board on my end. Pass it back to you. All right, we have ourselves a game 3. That's what I like to see. Unfortunately, on the draw, I think we're probably just going to run it back like this. We may be able to afford going down a land for like a Scouring Storm Soul just to block with. Pick Your Poison's kind of an interesting option. They're likely on Quantum Riddlers, and we saw that they brought in the Unable to Screams. So it might be worth like playing the first one, but probably not. I think we just run it like this. Try to keep a hand that has Pyroclasm, Torch, Seer, that kind of thing. Okay. I mean, they're going to mulligan. I'm going to keep them. Not the best hand in the world. Double Seer is pretty good, but I prefer maybe like Torch, Seer. A little awkward as far as our curve goes. Biotech Specialist. Leyline Weaver. Well, we just have to kill this. Can't let this get out of hand. It's interesting how people realize this draft common was like actually kind of like Badgermole Cub, like baby Badgermole Cub. It's not nearly as good, but some turns it's just actually just insane, right? Llanowar Elves. Well, I think we can afford to tap out for a wagon here, and then if they go for an Ouroboroid, we can still sear it. Getting close to actually just doing this Lasting Faith from our Xenarkand to be able to crew our wagon. Formidable Speaker. Let's see what they decide to find here. I'm guessing they're going to go for a Badgermole Cub. Kind of the classic choice for these lists right now. Secure your ramp first and then try to do busted things. There's the Cub. Do they have another land to actually be able to cast it this turn? Mockingbird for 1. Okay. Chandra, Spark Hunter. Chandra is very good-ish, but I think I have to kill the Cub when it enters, right? So they're going to spend 2 mana. They'll be able to access 4 right away, but then an extra 2 if I don't interact with it. Or sorry, an extra 1 if I don't interact with it, giving them 6. And then they can Nature's Rhythm for an Ouroboroid. But if I play the Chandra now, I get to hit them, which I do like. It's probably better to play the Chandra, right? Because what are they going to grab? They're going to grab Ouroboroid. I guess I can't really recover from that. Let's go with the Biotech Specialist here. Hold up the Seer and pass. I guess with the Formidable Speaker, they get to generate 6 mana anyway, but they're going to have to tap their Cub to Nature's Rhythm. Just get this out of my life. Oh, they won't be able to tap the Cub to Nature's Rhythm because it's dying. Excellent. But they'll still be able to generate a good chunk of mana here. But But I don't think they'll be able to harmonize for 4 as the result of this. They're going for Detect Intrusion. Detect Intrusion. Okay. Picking up their Mockingbird. Okay. But now they don't have... Okay, they can access blue mana by untapping the Breeding Pool. So they officially have bonkers mana, but in doing this line, it gives me the opportunity to maybe redraw into a Pyroclasm and kind of ranch them with a Chandra. Like go Chandra, +2, sacrifice the lander, try to hit Pyroclasm. So we'll have a couple looks there. Quantum Riddler. The Riddler. Draw a couple cards. Just warped. So they're not going to really untap with a crazy, crazy board quite yet. It's pretty good. I mean, they're going to have 1,000,000 mana. So they are really threatening, just like Greater Hoof Behemoth off of Nature's Rhythm, right? But I think they probably can't do that if I kill at least one of the cubs. But they're just going for it now. Okay, well that probably makes sense. Pretty strong Ouroboroid. Torch the tower. Well, we get to torch a cub. It's not irrelevant, but they get to Mockingbird and Ouroboroid. That's 2 counters on everything, then 3 counters on everything. So that's 5 counters on everything, and they can attack with enough. They can certainly attack with enough. Let's go for the Chandra here. Go for a redraw. See if we can find a Seer for the Ouroboroid here, I think. Another Biotech. I think I have to sacrifice this wagon to torch the cub now. Should have played a land first. Hopefully that won't matter. Hit them for 6. Torch the cub. Cranko Baron of Tinstry. I mean, they're going to all in me next turn, right? They're definitely just going to like 1, 2, 3, 4, double Ouroboroid, swing at me kind of with everything. Maybe they leave something back. I don't think Cranko is the way we win this. We have a second Biotech Specialist. Although, at the same time, Cranko plus Vehicle plus Biotech stack. Do I have the mana for that? I will have the mana for that. Yeah, maybe there's a chance they fully tap out. We'll try this. Pass it back to you. I don't love it, but we'll try it. Tapped Botanical Sanctum. That's good. It means they have to tap one of their creatures to Mockingbird this Ouroboroid. I guess they'll have this as a blocker, right? They swing out. Makes sense. So now I have to give up the Biotech Specialist, which is kind of huge for them. This is one of the ways I get to kind of win for free. If I untap with the Biotech, I think they're dead for sure. Now I have to go for... I can play a Biotech. Play a Cranko. Sacrifice the lander. Deal 2 to them. They block, they block. They go to 3. I don't think I can squeeze out an extra 3. So I have to, rather than make a Yeah, I don't think there's a way I can win here at this point. Maybe I have to like discard this. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. Kind of close. Kind of close. Kind of close. Opponent played pretty well. Didn't really find the kind of removal we needed to combat their start here. Pretty close though. Let's move it into the next one. Match 2 on the draw. Decent opener. I love to have Chandra plus Wagon. Turn 1 Llanowar Elves. Ooh, another Wagon. Kind of a problem being on a playset of Wagons is that, like, they really do clog your hand sometimes in a way that's not that good, but also being on Chandra lets you kind of discard the extras away. Sack a Fabled Passage. I think I have to go Generous Plunderer next turn. Double Brass's Bounty. Yeah, I'm not winning the game where I just like hold up Seer and kill a Nice Till Explorer, you know what I mean? I think I have to be a little more proactive, so I'm going to go Generous Plunderer to guarantee that I can cast this World Wagon next turn, but them being on the play is just such a huge advantage here. This is a position where Iroh's demonstration maybe would have been better. Just something to think about. Giving them treasures is not going to matter. They have infinite mana anyway. And we need the treasures. Another land. That's good. Means we don't have to use a treasure. Which means we're kind of getting closer to this Brass's Bounty payoff. We just need one of our ways to actually pay it off. We maybe could have just cast a Chandra to start rolling it up. In this deck, compared to most like uses of Chandra, actually just trying to get her emblem online as fast as possible is correct, I think. No attacks here. Not only does it give her a little more protection, like just having a higher loyalty, but also if your opponent just can't deal with her rolling up and like on an empty board, right? She ultimates very quickly. And you can pretty much always kind of just win the game once you manage to get her ult online. Or at the very least, like, kill their board with a couple bolts. Green shell. I'm feeling kind of okay. They're not doing anything particularly crazy yet, right? And they're kind of giving me time to set up. The worst we could see is like they top deck a Sapling Nursery and have a Fabled Passage to follow it up. Hitting our land drops here. We'll play a Chandra. Let's go ahead and just swing with the wagon, see what they do. I'd imagine maybe they just block with a Promising Vein to get to turn on their Earthbender Ascension. They could also maybe say, like, I'm just going to block with my green shell and try to buff with the Earthbender Ascension, but we've got this Seer backup to guarantee that we get to kill the green shell in that scenario. We could also swing with this Generous Plunder. It's got Menace. Might ping them for 2. Probably not super relevant yet. Okay, they just block with the Promising Vein. Makes sense to me. Sacrifice it, Earthbend it. Now if they have a Might Form Harmonizer, I might be dead to that. So, should definitely hold up this Seer, I suppose. There's not really a whole lot I could do with them having a Promising Vein on the field. So if they have Harmonizer plus land drop, I think I'm just dead to a big green shell, but let's go ahead, give up one of these Brass's bounties. Don't think there's a world where we need more than one, really. Although, if we draw, like, exactly Biotech Specialist, maybe having more than one's kind of dope. Maybe we just discard a wagon here. They're not really getting through anyway. We can't crew more than one. Yeah, we're just one of our combo pieces away from kind of just killing them next turn. But we'll see if they're at the combo at this point. Kind of a close one. Just 2 ships passing in the night almost. Counter on the Llanowar Elves. Big green shell. Archdruid's Charm. Fighting off my Generous Plunderer. Okay. Now, do they decide to kill Chandra here? They do decide to kill Chandra here. But still, we are just one combo piece away with these with the double brass bounty setup. I'm pretty sure either Krenko or Biotech Specialist is guaranteed to kill them. I'd prefer Biotech because I think it'd be a little cleaner and more guaranteed, but I would take either. Fountain Port. And we can go for a redraw. We're not dead next turn necessarily. Go for a redraw here. There's a Chandra. Okay, Chandra's not the worst. It's not great. It lets me pull another land out, swing with the wagon here, and filter away this Stomping Ground. Another Seer. Also might distract them for another turn. But I would guess we're dead next turn no matter what. Possibly even just next turn. Double blocks. Kill off the wagon for good. Saz's Chocobo, fine, but they get a redraw off that, so it's not their worst draw. They hit a Fabled Passage, tapped. So I think we're still in this. Land, we're still in this, right? Ooh, maybe not. Now they have the Anthem online and they can double Bossing Say. Or just single Bossing Say. And I'm at 19. Oh, they have the treasures to double Bossing Say. Let's see if they realize that. Oh, no, I'm just dead right here. Okay. GG. GG. Yeah, I kind of forgot that Kun Green Shell was an option long term. Just like, eventually you get the Anthem and eventually you have Bossing Say. On the play here, let's just try to maximize what we're trying to do. I'm not going to switch anything quite yet. Match 2. Game 2 on the play. We'll get that away. Okay. Getting verged here. But still, I think it's okay. We have a turn 2 Scudgeback Scrounger. Gives us a treasure to be able to cast a World Wagon. Probably better than going to 5. Generous Plunderer. Gonna skip on that one right now. I do generally like the Generous Plunderer over the Scrounger. It's a little more aggressive. Giving treasures to your opponent is a real downside, but also like having to blight is kind of a pain too. Let's just get a wagon online here. We can swing in for 2. See if they want to trade. Get a wagon online. This will give us green. Kind of feel like maybe we could afford to be on a playset of Vibrances. That just might be the play long term. Since they play so nicely with the wagons in general, like, if I had a Vibrance next turn, at the very least, I wouldn't be able to fully cast it, right? But I would be able to evoke it to kill off the cub and crew the wagon. Yeah, it might just be the move. If you're on a playset of wagons, probably makes sense to be on some kind of elemental situation right now. Do we kill off the Scrounger for a treasure? If I kill off the Scrounger for a treasure, I get to... No, actually, let's leave it. I can torch the cub and then cast a Generous Plunderer to be able to crew up the wagon. That feels pretty good. Kind of getting some momentum going here. Slowing down their big mana next turn. I know generally this is not like a big mana deck. But obviously you kill the cub there, right? Denying them 2 extra mana for next turn. Sorry. It is obviously a big mana deck, but it's not like a we got a turn 3 Ouroboroid sort of list. The main strength that this list has is it casts, like, it's got the best inevitability of any deck in the format right now, I think. Eventually you will be able to cast a 2-mana Sapling Nursery and Fabled Passage and just present a very, very hard to interact with board. But the Badgermole Cubs, they're just kind of like greasing the wheels. They are not the combo piece like in the Nature's Rhythm lists, right? They are going to be untapping with a lot of mana here. We'll take a treasure. Sear for a cub. That's probably pretty good. So we sear a cub. Yeah. Keep it like this, I suppose. Play another Plunderer to crew with. Keep them off of big mana at the very least. And double Plunderer starts to go kind of crazy too. So swinging with a what is essentially like 3-power Menace Plunderer right now, but next turn I get to swing with 2 of them and guarantee kind of ping them for 2 each, which is kind of nice. They're going into the danger zone, down to 6. A lot of mana to work with. They could just kill me here. If they have something like Might Form plus Fetch, crack the Promising Vein as well, with all the extra mana they have going on. Treasure might help them do that as well. They're not guaranteed dead on the crackback. Oh, well, actually they might be, just because of the menace from the Plunderers. They can only block 1. They can block 2 of them, right? I have a feeling this Earthbender Ascension is not going to be enough for them. They also need some way to interact here. Melt Striders or an Archdruid's Charm. Otherwise, they're just dead to these Plunderers. Curious to know what's in their hand. Maybe it's like a couple Sapling Nurseries that they just can't cast. Ice Till? No fetches in the graveyard. Okay, well, they're dead. Whee! Don't really have to do anything else here. Put them to 2. Couple menace attackers. Move on to game 3. Happy to see a game 3. They get to play. Not sure that our sideboard changes too much, really. Maybe Pyroclasm is decent just to really slow down Badgermole Cub starts, but it's like a really bad top deck late game. Maybe worth bringing in. Also, there's the Pick Your Poison option for dealing with Earthbender Ascensions and Sapling Nurseries, but outside of that, it's not that good, probably. Let's try a couple Pyroclasms, see if we can just slow them down that way. Go down a Scrounger, go down a Boost Buggy, Yeah, I'll just go down a couple boost buggies. Try it like that. All right, on the draw, game 3. Decent hand. Decent. Turn 2 Plunderer means turn 3 Chandra, but would like to see a Pyroclasm in this opener. Just lead on a Stomping Ground. No need to get cute. Saz's Chocobo, swing for 1, pass? Okay. Well, that's fine for us. I could just deal with the Chocobo now, but I think I'd rather go for our Plunderer here. It's going to accelerate them a bit, but based on what they're doing right now, I have a feeling they have a handful of lands anyway. I would imagine turn 3 Earthbender Ascension here. And I can still deal with the Chocobo next turn, if that's the case. Are they thinking about fighting my Plunderer? There's the Earthbender Ascension. Okay. Alright. No blocks. Can't go for Chandra here. I think I do just have to deal with the Chocobo. Do the treasures thing. Play on Llanowar Elves. Hit them for 3. Try to start whittling them down a little. Make it more realistic to put them in a position where we can just kind of burn them out with a biotech specialist. And a few treasures. We're not blocking anyway, you know. Badgermole Cub. 5 mana available right now. Maybe 6 if they have a land. Could play a green shell here. Fighting my Generous Plunderer. Not really fighting. Whatever this is called. Bashing. Bashing my Generous Plunderer. Into Llanowar Elves. Okay. Not a super strong hand from our opponent, right? Not super strong. Let's just try to get a Chandra online here. We could either 0 and plan to block on their turn with a 3-2, or just roll it up to try to filter into our stronger draws. I'm going to go for that. Discard away this Stomping Ground. Okay, we can play a Plunderer. That is a-okay. Double Plunderer. Now would be a great time for them to Sapling Nursery. It would really put a very, very fast clock on us. Like, dead next turn kind of clock. Especially if they have a fetch. Well, there's a fetch before anything else. That's usually a pretty good sign that they kind of have nothing going on. Earthbender Ascension. So that means they're going to be able to access Trample now. I don't know why they sequence like this. They definitely should have played the Earthbender Ascension and then fetched to be able to get this one online sooner. One card left in hand. No attack. Oh, no, they are attacking. All in on Chandra. Chandra's dying. Nothing I can do about that. So now we need our next draws to be something like Biotech Specialist and Brass's Bounty. And we can just kind of steal the game. Treasures don't matter for them anymore. There's a Seer. Well, might as well hold on to that. Just swing in here. They don't give up their treasure. They take an extra damage. Play another one. And now, I think I hold up the Seer in case they draw an Ice Till. And at least deny a couple extra land drops that way. Or Harmonizer or whatever. There's a Harmonizer. You're a harmonizer, baby. You're a harmonizer, baby. Oh, harmonizer, baby. You're a harmonizer, baby. You are. You are. Harmonizer, you're a harmonizer. They're contemplating. I'm feeling okay. Especially if they just decide to keep the treasures around. Maybe I think I just go for a redraw here off of this treasure. Take this. Well, actually, if I sear this, they only have one blocker. They're guaranteed, unless they sack the I mean, they should sack the treasures, right? So let's not count on that. They're guaranteed to take 8. And if I draw a biotech specialist, they're certainly dead. Because I can go... Yeah, so let's go for the redraw right now. Another fountain port. Draw. I mean, make treasures and then draw. Let's do this thing. Come on. Let's do it. Let's do it. Another Llanowar Elves. Okay, well, I have to sear the Might Form Harmonizer. I can make them have to sack the treasures here. And then... we'll go from there, I suppose. It'll involve playing a Llanowar Elves and then maybe making a fish for blocks. Do they have like a snakeskin veil? Origin of metal bending. Okay. Well, they kind of need to draw like a land next turn. I'm gonna go for this. Just sack the treasures, bro. Just sack the treasures, bro. Oh. I want to win, but not like that. Just sack the treasures. Because now when I do my little write-up report in the description, which I do for every video, if you're not reading the descriptions, there's some juicy stuff in there. And now I have to be like asterisk win because my opponent did a big flub. Just sack the treasures. All right. Well, 1-1, I guess. Move on to the next one. Match 3. On the draw again. It's an okay hand. We'll keep it. So the nice thing about Boost Buggy with World Wagon, it can be a little awkward if you have too many vehicles because like you need ways to crew them. But Boost Buggy can, for 3 mana, exhaust to become a creature permanently and put a 1/1 counter on it, which is perfect for crewing up the wagons in this kind of situation. Opponent off to kind of a fast start, and our vehicles are pretty poor defensively. Hexing Squelcher on the field. It might make sense just to take this turn to kill off the Bastronaut or the Squelcher. I think I'm just going to kill off the Bastronaut this turn. Like, yes, I'm taking an extra 2 off the Squelcher, possibly in the future, but long term, the Bastronaut's going to be more of a game-ending threat than the Squelcher. Kellen. Iron Claw. Well, we have those Pyroclasms in the side. Generous Plunderer. Could just play a Plunderer and plan to block. We're not doing a whole lot next turn, though, if we do that. Feels bad taking a turn off to play the wagon here, but opens up our options for next turn, too. As long as we can avoid, like, double Nova Hellkite here, maybe there's a chance we survive. Razorkin Needlehead. Imagine if we had Pyroclasm in our deck right now, dude. Draw a card. Another Plunderer. Gives us another blocker at the very least. Yeah, we can go double Plunderer and then tap Stomping Ground. I mean, this is why we're only on 2 Boost Buggies. I think they shine pretty... that you wouldn't expect it, but they're actually very good in like grindy control matchups, right? But in this kind of matchup, if you're on the draw and you've got a handful of boost buggies, you're just gonna be falling behind in tempo so quickly. Might as well crew up the wagon here. Pretty well dead to this. In fact, just dead to this. Okay, move on to game 2. On the play, I mean on the draw against Mono Red, what are you gonna do? You know, let's bring in some better defensive cards. Big butted Magebane Lizard. We got a lot of big butts. We just need things that can block. Go down on the combo a little bit here. Yeah, all of this is pretty good. Let's just cut the combo entirely in this matchup. We win on board eventually if we just do things like Pyroclasm and play a Legion Extruder to sack all of our treasures too. Maybe go down to 1 wagon. Try it like that. Chandra can still be okay. On the play. Pretty good hand. Very good hand for us. And just lead on a Llanowar Elves here. I'm kind of considered just playing a tap Stomping Ground. Maybe that's just better, actually. Okay, well, now, rewarded with our single with our single Lumbering World Wagon draw. Rewarded on the play with this turn 3 Chandra swinging in with a Lumbering World Wagon. I mean, anytime... Oh, well, that's also very good. I'm going to go for that instead. Anytime you get to swing with the wagon on turn 3 off the Chandra, I mean, it goes crazy, man. Like, this is the ceiling of the deck, right? And it kind of rips. Let's grab our Zanarkand as an option. The Ancient Metropolis. It's online pretty quickly with this start. We'll have 5 lands on the field with a Llanowar Elf, so we could just rip the adventure if we wanted to. Pretty unlikely for our opponent to win this. Tursa Light Shatter. Cool 3/3 haste, bro. Have you seen Krenko Baron of Tin Street, though? Alright. Well, might as well go for a Chandra here. Are they just dead to this? If I play a Chandra... Crew up the wagon. Hit them for 7, 11, 12, and then an extra 2 off the Legion Extruder. Might as well just leave it back an Elf to block with, I suppose. Not going to matter too much. They can't deal 15 to me next turn, you know what I mean? They scoop it up. Great. The writing's on the wall. On to game 3. They'll be on the play. I think we keep the sideboard playing the same. Makes sense to me. Run it back. Pretty good opener for the draw. Torch, Pyroclasm, pretty much everything we could want. Let's just go ahead and play a Verge and pass. We could opt to Torch, but probably more likely we just want to plan to Pyroclasm turn 2. We'll take this 3. Go for the Pyroclasm while it's good. Hold on to the Torch. We can wagon next turn. There's the Hellkite. That's fine. We're not really putting anything on the board with that play, right? Just doming us. Another mountain. Go for the wagon here. The 1 of wagon. I mean, if all their turn is like fire up the Soulstone Sanctuary, I think we're pretty far ahead here. Stingerback Terror. It is huge. Vibrance is also kind of huge. With Vibrance, we can evoke it and torch the Terror. we could also just, like, go face. So if we go face, hit them for 3 in the face, swing in with a 6 power wagon, and we gain some life. They'll be at 11, assuming they don't block, which they probably won't. I don't love the idea of having to give up the Vibrance here. There's also the option of just, like, double Generous Plunderer, crew, and swing. We can, like, play everything else out, make some treasures next turn, do a pretty big attack. They're probably not that likely to kill me next turn, right? Unless their last 2 cards... What if their last 2 cards are, like, Searing Spear? Or Lightning Strike. They can Lightning Strike me for 6, and they'll be Hellbent if they have another land. Yeah, I think this makes a little more sense to me. The ceiling of damage is a little higher next turn, because we'll have the double Generous Plunderer triggers. And then if all they do is, like, play a Nova Hellkite, kill my Llanowar Elves, that's okay, right? I mean, it's not like... I'm not dead, at the very least, you know what I mean? And I think they die on the crackback, if that's all they do. I kind of don't want them to block here. They don't block. Okay, into the danger zone. I have a lot of interaction for future dinky blockers, so definitely going to get through with the wagon next turn if they don't have, like, an Abrade. Iron Claw. There's dinky blocker number 1. Dinky blocker number 2. Let's see dinky blocker number 3. Shock on a Generous Plunderer. Is that what this is? Shock on a Generous Plunderer. And do they swing with the Stingerback Terror? Okay. Go down to 6. That's pretty low. Not having an extra Generous Plunderer might mean we don't have lethal here. Give them a treasure. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that, because now they can guarantee cast the Nova Hellkite. And I don't really have a way to deal with Terror plus Hellkite. Yeah, I think that was our real mistake here. I kind of did it before really thinking about it. There's a chance they don't kill me next turn if I just, like, clear their board, take 7 off the Stingerback Terror, and they don't have the mana to cast the Nova Hellkite, but a little bit of an oopsie. Is there any sort of secret angle that we have here? I can deal 6 to a Stingerback Terror, but that's not going to be enough here. It is big. I can hit them for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? It's close. Torch this. Hardcast a Vibrance. Nothing cute I can really grab here. Yeah, I goofed. Pretty likely that they draw something to kill me anyway, right? But as far as playing to your outs goes, definitely a bit of a goof. They go to 2. Yeah, a pretty nice hand for them to play out there. And they draw the land anyway, so no need to sweat it too much, right? They had kind of the perfect hand, right? Double Dinky Blocker wouldn't have been enough, but double Dinky Blocker plus Shock, like Dinky Blocker plus Shock wouldn't have been enough. Land to play a Nova Hellkite wouldn't have been enough, but they kind of had everything they needed to survive that turn. In retrospect, would we have won the game if we had dealt with the Stingerback Terror sooner? Maybe, but that also kind of means giving up the Vibrance pretty early on. Yeah, I'm not sure. I did have fun though. Let's play a couple more. I love this deck. I think it's really fun. I just want to keep it rolling. On the draw, once more. Not the best series of coin flips for us here. Moon Shadow. Let's lead on the Bossing Say here. Guaranteed some untapped mana for the future. Drawing a Seer opens up that opportunity a little bit, so we don't have to rip our Vibrance right away. We're going to shock ourselves eventually. Might as well just do it now. Conceal a little future information. We got to Seer the Likeness Looter here, I believe. Because they can, like, do everything. Oh, no, they can't do everything at instant speed. But I might as well kill it now to deny them the opportunity to discard. Or to loot, you know? I think that's okay. Bloodthorn Flail. They're on Grixis. Okay. They play this Likeness Looter. It's pretty cool. They can, like, just copy a Moonshadow in their graveyard for 1 mana, and it'll just be like a 7/7 Menace flying, which is kind of disgusting. And they may also be on Abhorrent Oculus to copy as well. Big Moonshadow. Well, I'm kind of only beating that if I get to, like, Seer plus Vibrance it next turn, and they don't really have anything else going on. But I'm loving this Vibrance World Wagon combination, generally speaking. Oh, I needed to grab a mountain there, didn't I? Triple red. All right, never punished. Never punished, baby. I am dead to the Iron Shield Elf next turn anyway, though. Yeah, I'm just dead to, like, turn 2 6/5, beating my ass down. Nothing I could have done there, I guess. I'm living maybe a turn if I fully evoke the Vibrance. But no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Bring in a couple Soul Guide Lanterns here. Pick your poisons, kind of interesting. Deals with the flails, deals with the Abhorrent Oculus, deals with the Likeness Looters. Also just very cheap interaction, which is pretty good for this matchup. Let's do the kind of the same thing we did against the mono red matchup. Kind of cut down on our things that are pretty bad defensively and just kind of plan to interact with them. Try it like that. Did my opponent just fully scoop? Is that what's going on here? They're looking for tournament practice. None of this Gruul Treasures bullshit. Well, we're 2-2 officially. 2 asterisk wins. I guess we'll go into the final match here. All right, match 5. Finally on the play. Okay hand, not the best. 2-2. 2-2 overall. Hopefully I can show off, like, a real true blue win right here. On the play bodes well for us. There's a Chandra. Guess we're just passing here. Can't really evoke the Vibrance meaningfully. No worries. We have lands to eventually hardcast it. Turn 3 Kranko, turn 4 Chandra. Very 2015 Magic the Gathering feel. Whatever that means. I just mean, like, playing fair cards, attacking you. Looks like some kind of Simic Flash flavor is what I'm going to put them on. I expect things like Enduring Curiosity and perhaps the big ol' sandworm, whose name I can't remember, Lockmare. I might just have to Vibrance the Lockmare, get it out of my life. I mean, this card will pretty quickly get out of hand, right? Double red. It kind of hurts me a little to give up the Vibrance, but as far as tempo goes, I think this makes sense. We can get a boost buggy on the field to pay off Chandra next turn. Creates a nice little engine where we get to crew it and then sacrifice the treasure with Chandra. Could also just try to go for, like, a I'm kind of expecting Tishana's Tidebinder here. What's the best thing I could play into a Tishana's Tidebinder? Probably just like Krenko and crew up the boost buggy. And then if they want to Tidebinder the boost buggy, at least I get to maybe work with a Chandra in the future. We have a Brass's Bounty, finally. We have a Brass's Bounty to go with one of our combo pieces. I feel like this has been a very mid-rangey run of matches where we haven't really been able to pull this off too much. But this could be the match. Swing in for 3. They could just Tidebinder this. It'd be a little weird if they finally ripped it, but could also be like Floodpit's Drowner, stun my Krenko, and trade. They're taking a moment. Wanchitong. I was wrong the whole way down. Do they trade a Wanchitong for my boost buggy? I guess they do. The little thing that they don't see here is I can pay 3 mana to put a counter on my boost buggy and keep my boost buggy around at the cost of a treasure. And now it's fully online, which is nice. Not a sorcery speed. Just a little fun little combat trick for you. Main phase, rip a draw. 4 mana. Not even pretending they have anything here. Okay. How do we just capitalize? I guess we just make a vehicle and start hitting them. We can put them to a cool 10 life. You can't call this another asterisk win if we win this. Don't be in my comments being like, that's actually 3 asterisk wins. Don't be like that. Am I toxic sometimes? Am I toxic sometimes, guys? You gotta let me know. Like, be real with me, because I don't want to be a toxic MTG content creator. Hard bristle bandit. But I do kind of like to dunk on, I don't know, some silliness going on at this rank. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're in Pee Wee League. Not that a high Magic Arena rank is the end-all be-all, right, of competitive Magic, but they're not bringing their best always. Well, I think we just kill them. Unless they have an answer for this Brass's Bounty. So, like, even if they counter this Brass's Bounty, right? Does it matter? Does it matter? Is there a way that I can kill them this turn without doing the Brass's Bounty thing? I could just, like, sear one of their creatures and fire up the Restless Ridgeline. I think that's lethal also. Kill off a Sailor. Negate. Fine. But we're still going to force some chumps here. Fire up the Restless Ridgeline. I will not be paying to make a goblin. Swing out. We can untap. I mean, this is a cute little thing that maybe comes up sometimes. You can untap Krenko and then activate its ability in combat for an extra little counter. It's cute. Hitcha. Let's just go ahead and sacrifice this treasure for a little redraw. Pass it back to you. Not really a whole lot they can do, especially if they have a mitt full of counter magic. All right, move into game 2. They had a decent looking start, just kind of didn't do anything. And the real death knell was the turn where they just main phase, paid 4 mana to draw a card. Legion Extruder is going to be pretty good here. Pings off their little creatures and gives us a way to like put things on the board without having to cast spells. Also, same with Surak. Magebane Lizard, probably not necessarily worth it, but I think you could make a pretty good argument for pick your poison. I'd imagine they're on a pretty healthy number of flyers, plus it hits Enduring Curiosity. But let's just try it like this for now. Seer should be pretty good as well. Torch for the Enduring Curiosities. Let's cut down on a Scuzzback. Cut down on a Boost Buggy. I mean, Boost Buggy's pretty good too, though, right? Because it's like, if they don't counter it right away, it's a pretty decent, like, big threat that they'll have a hard time dealing with. But I'm imagining they're on Flood Pits Drowners, so kind of the natural enemy of Lumbering World Wagon. Let's just do something like this. Kind of cut down on the bigger, clunkier stuff a little bit and bring in a little more generically good, cheap stuff. On the draw, opponent mulligan. We'll keep this. I mean, we kind of have the combo. It feels kind of far away, but we have a decent amount of ramp to get there. And if you think about it, like, Biotech Specialist, it makes a lander token, right? Setting up that much faster Brass's Bounty. A lot of kind of sneaky ramp, I would call it, perhaps, in this list. With the treasures and the wagons. Insidious Fungus. What am I playing against? What am I playing against? I'm an Insidious Fungus Respecter, but I won't just throw it in any old deck. Maybe it's in the sideboard, you know, for my vehicles, I guess, but generally, this actually really doesn't have too many targets for us. Just gonna play a Specialist here. See if they have anything to say about that. Phantom Interference. Okay. Hit you for 1. Pass it back. Might just go for Chandra next turn. Hit me for 1. Krenko, Baron of Tin Street. Well, I could just kind of delay things here. Play around future Phantom Interferences, but I'm not that kind of gamer. I don't know if y'all have watched my stuff long enough to realize that in many situations, I'm just willing to kind of jam. I'm ahead on cards in hand anyway. I think I can afford to do this. It's probably better to just start rolling her up with this Brass's Bounty in hand. I actually don't even think I discard anything. Especially with them missing land drops, like, they could play a Flood Pits Drowner here and just start hitting Chandra, but that's not going to end very, very well for them, I think. No respect for Chandra. Hits me for 1. Down to 13. Still missing lands. Well, we're definitely going to roll up Chandra. I probably should have played Xenark in there. Oops, in it. Yeah, let's just go ahead and pitch that. I have a feeling we'll draw into a land. I'm just going to play the Krenko here and then hold up a Seer. Hold on to the Legion Extruder to play once I've emblemed Chandra. Phantom Interference. I will pay 2. Pass it back to you. No need to attack. I'm pretty sure if they don't have a Tishana's Tidebinder for this Chandra ult, then we kind of just win. I could play around Tishana's. Actually, if I just go for it, I get to just do the Brass's Bounty thing, and I don't think they're going to have an answer to that, you know what I mean? So even if they have a Tishana's Tidebinder here, which would make me sad, they don't. I could go for the Brass's Bounty. They're probably more likely to have a generic counterspell. I'm just going to go for the Legion Extruder instead. We'll ping them in the face for 3, and then ping the fungus for 2. They didn't sacrifice the fungus. Okay. Yeah, just start hitting you. And maybe we leave back an elf. Pass it back to you. I guess I should have played the Stomping Ground. Probably won't matter too much. Now, Chandra is like self-enabled, so anytime I make these vehicles, right, I'm just bolting them for 3 also. We are way too far ahead for them to come back from this. Pick your poison. Okay. What they don't realize is I'm going to get a little goblin off of this. Who's laughing now? Make a vehicle. Hit you for 3. I could, you know what? YOLO. Oh, I can't cast this. Alright, well, hit you anyway. And then play a Chandra post-combat to finish you off. Resolves. Keep this one. Make another vehicle. GG, 3 and 2 with like double, triple asterisk overall. Fun run, weird run. I guess ranking up is ranking up or whatever. What did you think of the deck? I thought it was fun. I thought we had a lot of weird, like, being in Gruul compared to other like blue-based combo colors. You just kind of have to wait for everything to line up and come along. Chandra helps you dig a little bit, but it's not like we can like mill into our combo like the Might Form Harmonizer lists kind of get to do, or the Nature's Rhythm lists kind of get to do. So the top end combo Brass's Bounty situation is a little inconsistent. Sometimes you just have it in hand and it doesn't do anything, which is obviously pretty bad. So you could, if you had an aversion to that, you could definitely either cut the Brass's Bounties completely, or and replace them with like Vibrances, probably for just a better overall mid-range plan. You could also put Brass's Bounties in your sideboard and just plan to bring them in like very uninteractive matchups, like the mono green Landfall matchup, where they're going to give you that extra bit of reach and way to just close out games in that sort of unfair way that a lot of standard decks are doing currently. Fun run anyway. Appreciate you watching. If you like this video, I'll be posting standard content every day. So subscribe if you'd like to see more. I would appreciate you coming back. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.